and there was a discussion about having 4 as opposed to 12. Now, after serious consideration, looking at all the aspects and everything else, it's tradition that we have 12, and I think that's what we should have.
I entirely agree.
It's a fairly recent tradition, mind you.
Yes.
It's not a long
Well, no,
tradition.
but I mean,
It used to be-
instead of having the
But that's you.
the 4 corners of the island, there are
Yeah.
little old ladies who like to go to hustings, and if they can't go to a particular hustings because it's out of their way, I think that everybody should be given the opportunity to as much exposure as possible.
Okay. So what you're suggesting, Stevie, is that we have 12 hustings,
We have 12 hustings.
one at each parish hall or
Yes.
a parish venue.
Yes.
I mean,
Whichever facility is
Might want to
available.
do it at community care. Someone might want to do it at
Yeah,
Rock,
yeah.
But a parish.
A parish hall, and obviously St Helier, the main one, to finish the day before we have the vote.
That is tradition.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve, for voting. I support the traditional 12 parish hustings, and if a couple of others pop up, sometimes the farmers like to have one up at the RJNHS.
That's for them to invite you.
I just want to, before we get there, I mean, I've got nothing against doing north, south, east, west as well, if we want to really go for it, but I would make one comment on the suggestion we had about drop-in meetings. I suspect I might have been the only candidate who's previously attended one that has done these drop-in meetings. I did it up at Fort Region. And I certainly wouldn't promote that again as a venue. It was a grim and ghastly experience. Virtually no one turned up. You stuck at the table with a chair. And regrettably, often the people who do turn up simply either want to give you some case to deal with, it's not really an opportunity to do case loads, or in my particular case I had a particular gentleman who wanted to talk to me about bus timetables, and amazingly he managed to do that for nearly an hour, during which time other people who were trying to talk to me couldn't get a word in edgeways. So not that venue. I seriously ask you to, were you one of them? I seriously warn you about this drop-in thing because it sounds like a nice idea, but I've been there and done that, and it didn't work.
Why don't we just do show of hands and who wants to ask?
Can I just say something?
We get the discussion because I want to get others.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree, and I think it's right that we have 12 hustings. The problem you have, if you take, there are 16 days, excluding the weekends. We have a bank holiday on the Monday as well. And you're going to try and fit in 12 hustings meetings across those 16 days. We're not going to get any hustings this week in time, I don't think.
No, we won't.
We won't. So therefore, you're starting next week.
That's right.
You've got.
We have the constables have been a little proactive on this.
Yeah, I appreciate.
And we have got some suggested dates if they're acceptable to you. If you would decide you want to do 12.
I would like to hear them if we could, because I think that's the practicalities of it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, please, yeah.
Monday the 15th of August at St Saviour, Tuesday the 16th at St Clement, Wednesday the 17th at St Martin, Thursday the 18th at St Lawrence, Monday 22nd at St Martin, Tuesday 23rd at St Bernard, Wednesday the 24th at Greville, Thursday the 25th at St John, Tuesday the 30th at St Juan, Wednesday the 31st at St Peter, and Thursday the 1st Trinity, and Monday the 5th at the Town Hall.
Now that's good.
It's a very tough programme.
The only two I could possibly see joining, but I would rather hear what the parishioners say, is St John and St Mary, because they are small. But whether that, that might just save one evening. But
can I point out, I know that the Jersey Trades Council wants to organise a hustings. I think 2nd of September wasn't on that
Correct.
list. They've provisionally booked something for the 2nd of September. They'd like to do a hustings event. And I don't know how far down the line in organising it, but I know the Youth Parliament had an idea that they wanted to have a youth hustings. So that's it. The more interest groups like that, Chamber of Commerce obviously might want to do something as well, or Institute of Directors or whatever. The heavier it gets when these groups want to do things, and I quite like the idea of making space for those groups, because there'll be a sort of subject focus where you can get into a bit more nitty-gritty stuff than if it's just a completely open thing for any subject.
Do you not think 12 is an overkill with the repetitive?
It's your decision.
I just.
Well, I'm sorry, but I've got to say, in all candour, if you're not up to speaking to people every day.
That's irrelevant, Guy, for goodness sake. I'm talking about, we want people to come in and vote. We want people to come in and listen to us. I think if you hit every day, the press are going to get fed up, the people are going to get fed up, and the longer you go on, the worse it's going to become to get people into the event.
Well, it's more convenient to go to your parish halls, what you used to.
Basically, though, you don't get the same lot at every
No,
parish.
I appreciate
hall.
that.
That's right.
One thing we did notice on the last set of hustings was that the questions did vary from parish to parish. They weren't all the same questions at every parish hall. And, you know,
Interesting.
it's all right us saying what we want, but what we should be thinking about is what do the electors want?
I agree with you.
Absolutely.
And certainly from the soundings I've been taking, they want the parish halls. They don't want 4, they want 12.
I think you seem to be coming round to that point. But I think it's worth mentioning that the media will not be attending all 12, they never do. But they normally turn up in the first one and the last one. It's also worth mentioning that PPC will again be recording every one of them, every one of them, and putting them online the following day. And that led the general election last 2 years ago. 2014.
Well, it is the nature of the beast. It is a by-election, and it is an all-island election. So that is the name of that is the game. If we change the system,
Can I just bring up
but that's.
First of all, people are still on holidays, so I actually think the turnout's going to be really, really low. Also, I'd rather have 4, but we could actually have longer time to speak, actually get into a subject. I've done a couple of speeches and I've timed them, and I find by the time 3 minutes is up, you know, you're barely touching the surface of a subject. So I'd rather have, you know, more quality speaking over 4 events, rather than having 1 or 2 people turn up to the parish.
Well, I was going to bring this topic up, John, and I would suggest very simply, because I've seen this no end of times, should we all agree just not to do the speeches and go straight to questions?
Well,
Because there's 11 of us. You're talking about an hour of listening to us all the time.
No.
They know what they know our manifestos. They really have them posted to them. They're online. They don't need us to stand up in a parish hall and tell them their
can we
manifestos. all
just
over
park
again.
that for a minute? Because I think what the question has just been put about getting long speeches, we'd all want that. But I think whatever format you're going to have, with 11 candidates, you are not going to have long speeches. And therefore, what's in my mind now is what is the maximum exposure will the candidates will get with the public? Because I think that's important. Because if you have 4 meetings, you are going to compress that time. You're going to have something else. I think the things that I was troubled about is it being going out. This is a fixed format, parish by parish. You've got to go to your parish. I think that really is not significant. I think people who are on holiday, people may not will be able to go to one meeting. They should be free. It should be quite clear. These are just generic meetings that anybody can go to, and they're not parish driven because there's always this suggestion of parish influence about selection of the questions and so on, which I think we should be brave about and be honest about it. So if we said, look, we are going to hold 12 meetings. They're not parish, we're going to hold all those meetings. They're going to be in the parish halls, but they're not to be seen as parish meetings. They're senatorial by-election meetings. Anybody can go for their convenience. I'd like to do other things about the ad hocery of the questions, because Sarah's right. We did get a variation of questions, but I think it was pretty potluck. I can remember constables all struggling to actually shape somebody's not very clear question into what a question was. So I think I would personally like to have some process whereby we can improve on that.
Do we know? Can I ask you? Do we know? Are the constables generally going to be chairing the meetings? Do we know?
Again, that's your choice.
Right.
You can invite whoever you wish to chair the meetings. I know that there's 1 or 2 who indicate they can't.
Yes,
I don't know, should we make a bailiff do them?
It seems that about half can do it if it is your wish. I mean, like I say to Constable Clement, I'm prepared to do it if it is your wish.
Right.
But if you want to have somebody else, that's totally...
Can I ask you, as a constable, would your gut feeling to be, say, if it was a specific St Clement's meeting, you'd want to give priority to St Clement's parishioners to ask the first question?
I mean, it seems to me logical if you're going to the parish halls, then you will give priority to the parishioners of that parish. But again, it's totally up to you. But you know, if I was chairing that meeting, I would be inclined to go for St Clemente first. That's just a natural.
Could I make an appeal to the PPC and to the Clontarfs, who've got both hats on? As an atheist, albeit a Protestant atheist, I've been to senatorial meetings where they have started with prayers. These are very secular events. They're, as John said, generic. They are about the election of senators. It's secular. It's not a religious meeting, and I wouldn't like to find myself embarrassed.
When did you go to a senatorial?
St Peter's 2010.
Oh,
Yeah, you surprised me. But
There have been examples.
But then you must, you know, it's your meeting. You must request the chairman.
Well, let's go
Can I be
for.
excused?
Of course you
Just
can.
let me know how many we're having, because
Yeah.
I think we'll be here all night otherwise, but good luck anyway.
All right. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
I mean, the idea of the fall was originally mooted by the Gref, who wanted to come up with a different option, I think, to allow for cost savings or to allow for consideration if the candidates didn't want to have the 12. But I think the feeling of the room generally is that people on balance would like to go to all of the parishes. And I think by a show of hands and by a feeling of the room, they've probably agreed on that. I think John's right that they probably should be generic, and we should be encouraging as many people to go to those as possible, because every single person here said that we want to get the best turnout we can, especially given the time of the year.
Absolutely.
So I think it's just then agreeing the best format within those 12 then to make sure that people are getting the most
I
out of
agree.
it.
So are we all ready to take a vote on whether we go for the 12? Are we all ready to do that? Is
No
everybody
problem.
comfortable we can do that?
Sounds
Well,
more
on
like
balance,
consensus.
I expressed a view of the 4 before, but listening to the arguments, I'm going to go for the 12.
Yep.
That seems pretty clear.
It's unanimous, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay. Traditionally, they started at 7:30 and finished around about 9:30.
That's fine.
My own experience tells me that if you go on longer than that, the hall starts to empty quite quickly.
yes.
Yeah.
So the format in recent history has been that each candidate speaks for X number of minutes, then that is followed by questions, and then the chairman invites each candidate to answer the question in a certain order with a different person starting each time. So the question for you is 11 candidates, if you want that format, if that's the format you want, it's how long each candidate should speak for.
Before you do, could I just, an idea has come to me. It's important to get more questioning time, I think, because last time we were faced with 30-second answers, which was crazy. I'd like to expand that.
Yeah,
and
you've got 20 candidates, didn't you?
yeah, well, we half that. We're still going to be pretty tight.
33 minutes.
So I wonder, do we need opening speeches, closing speeches and questions? Isn't there not a case for having questions and then speeches at the end? Because that sums it all up.
I'd prefer an opening speech and no closing speech. I think each of us will have a.
We didn't have
we'll have-
closing speeches.
I think
There
we
was-
did.
there was
We had,
time, don't
we
we?
did. Everybody had a final word, a chance to have a say. They did.
But only 10 seconds or something like that. If that
I think it's in Clement's one year, at one meeting, you put 3 questions together and let candidates answer 3 questions at a time. Now, because obviously candidates don't always have something relevant to say on a question. They'll waffle. They'll fill the space. Nature can't stand a vacuum. So it gives an opportunity for them to present what they know about and concisely.
Yeah,
So,
but we've all been to these meetings and we know perfectly well that the candidates get up and they say virtually the same speech as they said at the previous parish hall, which is virtually the same as is in their manifesto, which you can read on their website on vote.je, which is why I said I actually think we should, if we want to make some sort of little historical move that's progressive, let's all agree that we won't, but I mean they're all going to know who we are.
That's an
we don't need
assumption.
to introduce ourselves. It'll be let's let the public kick it straight off with the questions they.
yeah, but
want to hear the
we're not the
answers.
serving government. If we were the serving government, I'd entirely agree with you, but we're not. We're candidates with fresh ideas. That's the opportunity.
That's
And I think
very-
we've got to put our agenda up.
That's not fair on those who've it's their first opportunity to get out and speak.
I agree with that.
I think that's unfair.
Yeah.
I also think it's an assumption to say that everybody who's coming knows who we are. There'll be plenty of first-time voters, people who've got not much an idea in politics but want to get involved. But most importantly, Guy, you're a fantastic speaker. Why on earth would you want to get rid of speeches? I'm looking forward to yours. They're going to be brilliant.
Oh, no, they're not.
They are.
We've got 5, I think that's right, we've got 5 new candidates. And so I do think it would be unfair if the 5 new candidates who maybe not as well known or as known as the others, it would be unfair. So I think
not everyone will have the opportunity to look at both. I mean, there will be people who come.
You have 2 new candidates.
sorry?
2 new candidates.
No, new. When I say new in Senatorial.
You mean they've been in the States?
Yeah, new Senatorial candidates. So that's what I mean.
Well, 5 minutes
Well-
means 55 minutes.
Well, we do less than that.
Well, I don't think it's too 5. I think you've got
3 minutes. Is that it?
I think it's got to be 3.
Okay.
Well, since we're in for, since it's a 4 term, it's 4 years. How about a minute per year?
Hang on. Hugh, do you finish?
No, I was just saying it's going to take longer than 55 minutes. And I think with John's right. I think coming down to 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
3 minutes,
3 minutes.
in a 2-hour session.
Right.
It actually makes you more succinct, and it makes you get your points over much easier.
Agree with that.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll go with 3 minutes.
2 or 3 minutes is, I think 3 minutes is one side of A4 paper.
That's it.
That
Yes.
is all that is necessary to get the ideas.
I agree.
And so, can we take a vote on that?
Yeah.
I'm favour, 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Good, I got that agreed. So, meeting starts at 7:30 then, so we should be through the speeches by just after 8.
Yeah.
And then
Q&A.
the meeting has to close at 9:30, is it then?
Well, that's a guideline, but I mean,
Yeah, that's
normally
what I
we
agree.
find that people start walking.
So that's 90 minutes, and we've got 11 of us. How much is that? Who's good at arithmetic without this time of year?
It's around about 9 to 10 minutes each. Because I mean, not everybody will want to spend a lot of time on every question. You might want to say.
I mean, some people sort of elongate.
Yes,
That's where you've got to be careful. On the Q&A, because I've seen it happen. So we've got to be.
It'll be less than that, John. Actually, in fairness, by the time you get 3 minutes times 11, stand up, sit down. It'll be 8:15. You've got an hour and a quarter for questions.
Well, let's say if we get 8 minutes each, say. The question is how do you divide it up into answering questions? Do you do it in batches of 3? I don't personally like it very much myself.
I wouldn't do more than batches of 2, to be honest.
2.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But I don't know how much if I do that.
Pardon?
What if I even do that? If you allow yourself a minute or minute and a half.
The problem is if one gets a single question which is completely bizarre and everyone has to answer it and really no one wanted to address it. If there's 2 questions, at least you can major on the one that one considers.
I think the 2. Is there anybody else have a view on these batches of questions, just to make sure?
I think they help.
I think 2 is essential.
I think 2.
3 is
Yeah.
2 works fine.
Can we take a vote on 2?
Yeah.
2.
Simple.
Batches of 2.
Okay.
Right.
How long will each candidate have to answer?
90 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, no, the more that's not enough.
2 minutes.
2 minutes,
2 minutes.
I would have said.
Yeah.
A minute and a half was
2
really...
minutes.
That's a minute each answer.
Bear in mind-
How does that work out then? How many questions?
We have to allow some time for the question to be asked, bear in mind. Sometimes they do.
2 minutes, that's 22, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 or 6
It depends
steps.
on how fast
So
you go
multiply by
first.
2, about 12. 10 to 12 questions.
Well, that's not bad, is it, for a parish meeting?
No,
That's pretty good.
that's good.
2 minutes.
Nick,
2
if
questions
you like,
and 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
We might get some yes or no questions.
Oh, that's it.
So you're heading for the best part of a whole
No,
hour.
20 minutes, because not everybody will take up to 2 minutes. So that's 3 lots an hour.
For 2, it's 20 minutes for 2 questions.
Yes, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Isn't it?
Plus the time for the questioner to ask the question. Don't forget that. And they do ramble on sometimes.
But
As I know
again,
from
it's
my-
actually like, if you take the full length of time, you'll get less questions.
But I think we couldn't be ashamed of 8 questions, because sometimes we struggled to get through 5 or 6 last time. it
We'll
seemed.
try. Who's doing the first
And that does really leave people...
That leaves people sort of sitting there wondering what's going to happen next, obviously.
That's parish meetings. If there are any other
Well,
meetings,
they're
same rules
meetings, they're
apply?
not parish
No,
meetings,
no,
they're
I
Jeanette
do- I
election
understand that,
meetings.
yes.
They're election
Yeah.
meetings, and I
Yeah.
think that's important myself. Not, you know.
Yes, because very often, I mean, we get the St Ballard lot. If they miss the St Ballard meeting, they'll never cross to St Peter's.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
Yes.
And,
You
they
know, I
should-
mean,
and people
Yeah.
should
There's
be
nothing-
encouraged to do that
Yes.
and not discouraged. Agreed, obviously, I think if we've got if we've got half the connoisseurs prepared to chair, I think we should be open-minded and say if there's people who are independent, who want to do the other half, we can slot into that rota, great. And then we've got a mix of constables and other independent chairs. I think it'd be good.
who normally does it if it's not a Commissar? The senior procurator.
Some procurators have done it, others have been totally independent people that the candidates have agreed upon. I mean, I've done myself, before I was constable, I did 1 or 2 inns in Harrier, because they wanted someone from outside the parish.
Well, that's quite good. I mean, rotation is good. I mean, I just personally, I love the parish system, but this is not a parish election. That's why I
No, but it is parish based. That's why we're having 12 meetings, because there are 12 parishes. So there's a parish base to it, isn't there?
Not for me, it isn't. We're having meetings because we want to get in every corner of the island.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they have to be held somewhere, and they have to be held somewhere related to the 12 parishes. Now, this parish has got a problem because this room isn't big enough sometimes. Now, it might be more than big enough, so they have held them elsewhere. I don't know, St Clement's parish hall is usually big enough. St Bernard, sometimes they hold it in Communicare. I mean,
That's fine, yeah, that's
you know, so they do move away from the parish as such.
So what do we do? Can I suggest people content to leave it to Len and the team to decide on chairs for the meetings?
No, that's down to us.
So we've got to agree. All right.
Yeah.
So what we got? We got how many constables prepared to do it?
You have enough names there, yeah? We can let you know that I'm prepared to do it. It's up to you. I can tell you I'm prepared to do the one that's at Clement.
Right.
If you want, and if you don't want, that's
No?
no offence taken. No problem.
I think we probably need that list before we can actually make a decision on the rest of
So you
the outstanding.
find the names. Yeah, well, see, let you know.
Yeah. 'cause
A sound system, some parishes, if they're held in I'm using the word parish, sometimes they're held in a parish hall. Sometimes the sound system is defective. Is there going to be a travelling sound system, do we know? Can that be arranged?
I mean, the
I'll do
last
the same
one we
check
had
and make sure
in
it all
Clement
works.
was not very good because they'd all gone out
Yeah,
to other parishes.
yeah.
Dealt with.
We're working with the States Grant, who'll be putting somebody in to record it, and we'll make sure that...
It's going to have to be good quality because they're going to be recorded.
I mean, they've had excellent ones here from time to time, but this system's got awful lots of bleeps in it. You've had an excellent one at St Clement's, I've heard before. I don't know where it came from, but it was an excellent system.
They will have to be good because they're going to be recorded to those.
Yeah. Okay.
Mary's being combined because Mary's very expensive.
Really?
Well, they're basically there, I think. We'll find out which constables can do it, and after that's happened, I mean, personally, I don't know.
Senior prof.
Someone knows how to chair a meeting, I don't mind who it is.
Can I just, if we've got clear on that, can I just raise the subject which I think people don't like? I just wanted to clear it. This question of the speed dating meetings or the drop-in sessions. I can understand what Guy said. If candidates want to do it, can those rooms be available for that to happen? Because although it's a very compressed timescale, there are, for example, a couple of Saturdays when that's not there, and I don't think everybody will necessarily want to go and try and pick up what they can from a meeting. And I do think it is possible by setting time limits on those sessions to be able to say to people, you know, you've got a few minutes to have a one-to-one, that's fine. I mean, what do people feel about it? Am I alone in that view?
No, I think we should do at least one.
I think it's a good
At least
idea.
one on a Saturday when as many people as possible aren't working.
And give it a fixed time, have someone
Yeah.
ring a bell, and, as you would always at the
Yeah.
speed meeting, people
Yeah.
circulate around and
Because
speak to all the candidates.
Because I think we could all try and do it individually, but it's better if we do it collectively and it's publicised as that.
Yeah.
And then people understand what the rules are.
I withdraw my objection. I mean, I just wanted everybody to know to be prepared to be disappointed.
Well, I'm sure we might be. particularly if I'm sitting there on my own and everybody comes in and goes to everybody else, I'll have to sit there and have a cup of coffee. And then can smile at me and say, serves you right for pushing it.
Whatever you want.
So can we do that on the Saturdays in between, if we had a couple of Saturdays? Have we got on that time, does it work on that timetable? I don't know if we want, half day or what? What do you think? What's the...
I would think a half day is quite enough.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Morning? Or...
It's a bit like having surgeries. When I started out in this game, I used to have I'm going to have surgeries. And for the first 6 weeks, I held surgeries, and that was fine, except that nobody came, and then I get home, and the phone started ringing.
Sarah,
People wanted to contact
I
me.
empathise. In the last one I held, I had I had a long section of taxi issues to deal with, and they're not easy. And I needed to spend a lot of time after on that. I didn't mind it, but it meant that it didn't really achieve its purpose.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I still think because there were more of us there, and it is another chance for those people that don't want to go to Hustings.
In terms of timing, John, can
What do you
we
suggest?
Well, I would suggest that we let people do all their shopping and necessaries in the morning. We do it after lunch when everyone's feeling a bit more relaxed.
I don't mind.
I think the only thing we can
A venue, we haven't decided, an accessible venue, good flat entrance and all the rest of it.
I don't think people come to it actually, but I'm quite happy to.
Well, effectively, there's only 3 Saturdays.
Should we set one aside, do you think, John? Do you think one will be, and it gives people the opportunity on
Well,
say the 27th, Saturday the 27th?
Well, my little worry is that there's a lot of people away on holiday, which is why I think too. I know it's onerous, but we might as well use the time.
They won't actually come to it because when do the schools go back?
Go back on the 5th. 5th of September.
So it's only that previous week is when the schools will be, the people will be back in the island.
Right, okay.
But
Well,
until then, you know, lots of people are on holiday.
well, I don't mind if you want to go for one. I'd go for 2. I'd have the dates in anyway.
I think I'd say one, and then if that's
The point on the venue, where to have it.
27th or the 3rd of September.
My suggestion about where, I think it makes the decision for one, because it has, my where is St Paul's.
Yeah.
And St Paul's is the venue for the voting after the 25th. And so therefore that means it's the first weekend, it's the weekend 19th, 20th is the one you go to.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Disability.
I mean, I hate to say this, but if we're only having one, and some people are morning people and some people are afternoon, can we just bottle it and just have a day? All right, we have to go and get our sandwiches and stuff. I'm prepared to do that for just one day on a Saturday.
Try it, see what happens. I mean, the council of ministers get virtually nobody turn up for their meetings, but then, you know.
Well, I would have thought, since the...
Well, how much is it? Does anyone know?
I think it's
I think for these purposes, they charge what is equivalent to their charitable rates, so I think it's about £80.
Well, lucky, that's what, that's going to be about 8-10,000.
okay.
I mean, I think it works because people do the
Rather
morning
spending on
people.
sandwiches.
The morning people who do the shopping can go in and do the chats, and they go off to shopping, and then the afternoon people.
Sue tells me that previous occasions, the things like this which are additional to the Hustings meetings, which candidates wanted to organise, that people like the RJA chairs were unsure about St Paul's, and the town hall have provided facility free of charge, but the Hustings candidates have organised it themselves.
Okay, well, shall we, I mean, can we address it? I mean, I think St Paul's because it's a central location and people on a weekend come in, you know, in town, if out in the RJA, if they want to have their own hustings, okay, but that's not going to be a drop-in place at RJA, is it?
I wish the finance industry would call a hustings, but there we are, that's a political thought, isn't it?
Well, you can invite, or you can have your own hustings, and I might join you for the finance industry.
Maybe you're not invited.
I won't get invited.
So company might come in, go to the safe, pick some money up and walk
Right,
out.
exactly.
Well, where are we going? One Saturday?
Yeah. I think
What about, do we go all day, morning and afternoon sessions?
Try it, give it a go.
well,
Yeah, do
I mean, you've got to play it. I think, John, you've got to play this by...
11 till 3. Then you catch
All right,
Okay.
11 till 3.
Yeah,
11 till 3.
good thinking.
Yeah.
Vote on that, 11 till 3.
Yeah, Saturday, 11 till 3.
Everybody
Good.
pick it up, so.
Excellent. Well done, Sarah.
Right.
That's the solution.
Is one of you going to take the lead in organising it with the...
Yes, he's going to.
All right, I'll do it.
You thought of this.
Okay, all right.
If that is done, John, I mean, clearly we'll be publicising the husband meeting, so we can include that.
Thank you. It's our reform because we're not just going with the flow of having the traditional stuff. We're making a couple of changes.
I think you will be no doubt invited to the countryside wine. You will be invited, as Sam was saying, to the Trades Council. So you're going to find that your days and nights.
Well, I know, I mean, but, you know,
Yeah.
Love it.
well,
I'll turn my top.
I've taken unpaid leave, so I've got all these days available to use.
Just get some rollers and that's
All right. Anything else, guys?
Just checking we haven't put ourselves in something like the Half Beach Festival, or that's not that day. I think it's the next
I
day.
think we might have missed out the Jersey Rugby event. I think there's some matches.
Isn't it Saturday?
I'm only joking.
Yes,
I'll miss it. I'll miss the
I
match.
thought you'd all be going to Jersey Line.
Well, I am, but that's.
Yes, because for the benefit, just to remind everybody that we did seem to have, does the, I haven't looked at it properly, does the vote.je actually sort of deliver the edict on the Victoria Avenue and Hardley Park for posters?
No, the Transport Technical Infrastructure got the information on the gov.je. You can have
And it's banned. It's banned completely.
Yeah, next day.
It says no. It says no. Put no banners posted permitted along Victoria Avenue.
That's
and
right.
Esplanade, full stop.
It's a ban.
So it's complete ban.
That's okay.
So we don't have to worry about that.
There's nothing in writing. There's nothing in writing about Halfdeck Park, but the council has said they've got a seaside festival.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Would you please not do anything on
Yeah.
Halfdeck Park till after the seaside festival?
I think
The
that's
strange thing, somebody was saying for the Battle of Flowers don't put any posters up down there, so that rather, this seems to override that anyway,
absolutely,
doesn't it?
well, good, because it's
Yeah.
a bit dangerous, I can tell you,
Yeah.
trying to get a ladder up with cars
That's
whizzing
right.
past you, trying to get posters up.
Yeah.
Take your life in your hands, I can tell you. You'd find out how dangerous that road is when you,
Yeah.
you try
Indeed you
and do stuff like that. Especially with all these rocks in the concrete in the middle that they put. It's terrible.
Anything else?
Well, and that should be promoted, where we're going to have a poster-free zone in the Victoria Avenue and Esplanade. People will be very pleased about that. When they're sitting in the traffic jam, they won't have to look at all our ugly faces.
Excuse me.
On the lamppost.
I'm sure you'll find some very interesting places to put it. I don't think I have anything else. Anything else, Sue? Okay, so you let Sue know about all
Anything
that.
else you need from us then, or is that it?
No, we've got your emails.
And so let us know the list of festivals who are available. And
Yeah, Sue will let
Good.
you know that.
Excellent. I think well done.
Thanks a lot.
Too bad.